Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More. Hobart floods declared a natural disaster as Lord Mayor puts damage costing tens of millions. The federal government has declared last week's flood event in Hobart a natural disaster as the full extent of the damage becomes clearer. The Natural Disaster Relief and Recovery Arrangements provide for assistance for temporary living expenses grants, essential household items grants, repair and restoration grants. Earlier on Monday, as the perceived cost of the Hobart floods mounted, Hobart Lord Mayor Christie said Premier Will Hodgman needed to push for natural disaster relief. A few hours later, the federal government made its declaration. Under the Natural Disaster Relief and Recovery Arrangements, federal grant assistance will be available for short-term accommodation expenses, to replace essential household items and repairs on damage caused by the floods. The figures are as follows. Temporary living expenses, grants of up to $9,200 to pay for temporary living expenses when the house is uninhabitable. Essential household items, grants to help people replace household items. The maximum grants is $6,000 for single households, plus an extra $1,000 for each additional person living in the house up to a maximum of $9,200. Repair and restoration grant, grants of up to $9,200 to help re-establish a principal place of residence to a basic standard to allow habitation. While the initial damage bill had been about $20 million, Alderman Christie said it was now clear the council's damage bill would be in the tens of millions of dollars. Media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, 0000:2300:0000:23 Mount Wellington tracks seriously damaged. Alderman Christie's plea came as the council began assessing widespread destruction across Cunani/Mount Wellington from the air. The entire mountain is now off limits indefinitely, with fears the Mount Pinnacle Road suffered structural damage. Alderman Christie said conditions on the mountain were so bad the council was forced to send strike teams in by helicopter on Monday morning. We're also going to be using drones. That's why we sent drones along the Hobart Review later this week to have a look at that damage, he said. Some of the trails, there's trees fallen over, washed down, and you just can't get the 4WDs over it. Alderman Christie said many tracks such as the Organ Pipes track, on which the council had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to rehabilitate and repair, had sustained serious damage. Tipped to reopen Tuesday morning, the mayor said council would also conduct a thorough assessment of infrastructure under the Hobart CBD. Our guys are keen to get under the city, just to reassure the traders that everything's okay, Alderman Christie said. We will not do that until the review subsides. Our guys will go and inspect under the city as soon as we can get them in there. The flood-ravaged Macrobies Gully tip in South Hobart will reopen at 7:30 on Tuesday morning, with extra staff on hand to direct the flow of debris and rubbish. Wheelie bins washed away in floodwaters would also be replaced, Alderman Christie said. Media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, 00:01:05:00:0001:05 Graves sunken in flooded cemetery further south. Cleanup work was continuing in the heavily hit Kingborough and Huon Valley Council areas. The Huon Valley Council issued a statement saying its Huon Lawn Cemetery had been reopened after 4 days of closure. The torrential rain resulted in a large number of badly sunken graves and the road was covered with a thick layer of mud, the statement said. Given that all our crews and machinery were being used on the roads, we unfortunately had no means of addressing the sunken graves before the weekend. On the east coast, the lower and upper Prosser dams were filled to capacity by the recent rainfall. Tasswater said it was lifting Stage 1 water restrictions on Orford and Tribunna as a result. Manpower flown in from interstate as well as the damage to public infrastructure within local government areas. Private insurance claims from homes and businesses had topped $20 million by Monday and was expected to climb, the Insurance Council of Australia said. To address the swell of insurance claims, companies are having to fly in assessors from interstate. Cleaning contractors are also importing manpower to deal with the hundreds of jobs on offer. Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More.